Good afternoon, David. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hello, Pascal. How are you?
Good, Sunny. How are you?
Great, thank you. I'll kick us off in just a moment.
Sounds great.
I think David is pouring himself a drink for happy hour here. As many of you should be, whoever is attending.
I'm already.
David, what are we having here today?
In homage to Spain, I'm drinking one of my favorite white wines, which is Rueda or Verdejo from the Rueda region.
Yeah, Verdejo grape. Yeah, Rueda. Yes. That region.
Perfect for a warmer day like today.
Good, good.
Thanks. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sonny Balani. I'm the CEO of Balani Custom Clothiers, and my father actually started Balani in 1961, and so I am the second generation to start working with Balani, and Pascual here has me beat because he's the third generation, I believe, and so he is the president of Magnani, and I believe his grandfather started the business in 1954 out of I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. It's La Mancha, España?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. So, and I love their tagline, which was great food, great wine, and great shoes, obviously come out of España. And David can obviously attest to that. And David here is our top clothier out of Cleveland. And he's been with us for how many years now, David?
8 years.
8 years. I was going to guess 7, so I was underestimate, but 8 years, and he's been great. And so he knows quite a bit about wine, food, and of course, clothing and shoes. And so we thought he'd be a great interviewer for Pascual here. And so quick funny story too is that our Balani model, who many of you have seen on some of our brochures and different ads and some of the emails that we've gotten on, actually went to grad school at Ohio State with Pascual. And so it's such a small world to see worlds collide. And we wanted to thank him for coming in here and welcoming him. He's obviously grown the brand into a global powerhouse, and they, are at major department stores around the country. So we're very happy and privileged to have him here. With no further ado, I will pass it on to the two of you to kick off the Q&A.
Thank you, Sonny.
Pascual, thank you for joining us. I've enjoyed both wearing and selling your shoes for quite some time now, and it's cool to see. Obviously, Balani is a family-run custom clothier, and the company you represent, and an heir to is also family-run. So I know there's a lot of people that don't know the story. If maybe you could kick us off by sharing a little bit about the legacy of Magnani.
Sure, David. Yeah, again, we're a family-owned business. As Sunny has mentioned, we started in 1954 by the company was established in Almansa, which is in the region of La Mancha, Spain. My grandfather started the business. My father took over, and today we are 5 brothers and 1 sister, 6 of us running the business. So we are, our distribution is worldwide. We sell in most major department stores all around the world, as well as clothing stores. And we are a contemporary fashion brand that focus mostly on, from anything from sneakers to high-end dress shoes. So we can manufacture a big variety of styles, and that's it pretty much. Meaning, again, family-owned business in the sense of we control most of the aspects of production, or every aspect of production and design. So we're very proud of what we are doing and what my grandfather started.
Absolutely. I want to go back to the story, but before we do, I know we've got a lot of people joining us on Zoom, and I was supposed to mention this and I forgot, so I'll mention it now. First of all, Pascual, you have generously offered a complimentary custom Magnani belt with everybody who uses the link after our call here today to purchase a Magnani shoe for themselves. So we'll give that link at the end of our chat here, but I did want to mention that that is on the board, and we really appreciate you kicking in that belt. It's in the cognac, which was one of my favorite burnishes that you offer. And also, we are going to be going through some questions from people that are joining us on the webinar. So if you're new to Zoom or not super familiar with Zoom, at the bottom there's different spots where you can actually type in your question, but please use the Q&A box if you'd like a question for Pascual before the end of our conversation. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the meat of our conversation. Can you take us back to 1954 in Spain when your grandfather started the business? I'm assuming this was like a boutique, smaller shop?
Not really. Again, Almansa, our town, has been a shoe town for many, many years. One of the biggest factories in Europe was located in Almansa, Spain. So the whole town worked in the shoe industry. My grandfather was a worker. He was very good with machinery, and when he had the opportunity to open his own workshop, he did. So it was really my grandfather and my dad. My dad at the time, I think, was 14 years old. So they started a workshop in the first floor of their house, and that's how it started. At that time, there wasn't electricity to power all the factories in Almansa, and this is a very funny story because my grandfather and my dad work at night. That means that during the morning they prepare the shoes in their workshop, and at night, when all the shoe manufacturers or bigger shoe manufacturers were, shut down because of the whole day process, is when my father and my grandfather started to manufacture their shoes because there wasn't enough electricity for the town. So it was a very humble beginning, and that's what I mentioned before, that we're very proud of being a family business, and where everything began for us. So
that's cool. So innovation has been a hallmark of Magnani since the very beginning.
Yes.
Certainly anybody who's involved in any business segment has had to adapt over the past 8 to 10 weeks, and we're continually innovating. I'd like you to maybe just talk a little bit about the actual process of shoemaking. We deal with clients at Balani who appreciate well-crafted garment, shirts, sport coats, suits. But a lot of people aren't so familiar with how a shoe is actually made from start to finish. And so perhaps you could get into a little bit of the technical background or technical aspect of how a shoe is made.
Sure. The most important thing about shoe manufacturing is the processes, and to make sure that you control the processes. Again, every process of manufacturing is pretty much controlled by the family, in the sense of some of us. I'm going to give you an example. Luis is the person that is in charge of design. So him and his team design the styles and control that aspect. My brother Miguel is the person in charge of manufacturing. So everything that goes through manufacturing in the process is controlled by him. My brother Julio is also controls all the purchasing of the raw materials, which is a very important aspect as well of the quality of the product. People don't think about the raw material so much, but how the raw material is key. A good quality initial product is key for the quality or the end quality or result of a product. So the production pretty much goes as design stage. You meet with your sales team or your sales force, you start designing the product. Then it goes to cutting stages. So the product is cut with the raw materials, stitched, go through the process of being antiqued, color, and we can talk about later, if you want, about how the shoes are hand antiqued and colored, because this is something unique from us. And then goes through the whole process of lasting and finishing or boxing the product at the end. It is a process that takes weeks, and it is a process that is handled by more than 300 hands in different places. So it's a very hand labor intense process.
So a member of your family is involved in each aspect of design all the way through production. Is that correct?
Pretty much. Again, we have around 500 workers in our facilities, and we are very involved in the key aspects of manufacturing. Again, as I mentioned, design is super important because we want our unique look and feel.
Sure.
You know, the hand antique and the colorations and the uniqueness of the shoe is super important because it gives the feel and look of the product. So my brother Miguel is in charge of that. As I mentioned before, raw materials is super important. We work directly with tanneries to create our own products that we can build based on our needs and what we feel that our customers will enjoy and like the best. So all those aspects are really important. And again, I live here in the US. You know, if you think about distribution and being in front of customers, that's why I live here in the US. The US is one of our biggest markets. It is our biggest market in the world. And you know, I think it's important for us to be here, understand the needs of the market. So that's why we have our company here in Columbus, Ohio, or New Albany, Ohio, to make sure that we understand our customer needs.
One of the things that my customers really appreciate about the Magnani brand is both the uniqueness of the colors that you offer in your various shoes, but also the option to match the shoe to the belt. Has that been something that you've always offered, or is that a relatively new innovation?
No, again, we've done it for quite some years now. It's an idea that we got honestly, traveling in Japan, where a lot of our customers were looking for unique colorations and unique shades, you know, or even mixed colors in the shoes. So my brother Miguel and I decided to start, together with my brother Luis, the designer, to start a program where we could color shoes with raw material. I don't know if you mind, but I got some shoes here.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Again, just to show you guys, in case you had some of the questions, but this is how most of our shoes start, which is in a raw material. This is one of the leathers that I was mentioning to you that is made by our suppliers specifically for us. What my brother Miguel will be able to do is, based on a customer's recommendation, he will color the shoes or antique the shoes based on the customer needs. So this will be the final, the same shoe, but colored in cognac, for example. So you can see the process, how it went from raw material to a cognac color. We can really make any colors, red, blues, we can even combine colors. And matching of the belt came from this idea. You know, when some customers ask for this unique type of color, well, how am I going to match my shoes with my belt? So we came up with belt. We started manufacturing belts as well, and it's one of our best-selling items as well. So we were super excited.
Take a closer look, Pascual, at the shoe that you just showed. And is that the Abraham model, or is that?
This is a selection shoe.
Okay.
That we just show it for display. But the Abraham is very similar. I pretty much have here most of the shoes. I hope you don't name a shoe that I don't have. But the Abraham is very similar. But if you can see, the lacing is in the side instead of the front. So the Abraham is one of our best-selling shoes, and it's very unique because of the design aspect. The lacing is in the side, but it's very similar, and it's all one piece of leather. So there is no cuts, and it's in a way it's my favorite shoe because it's all one piece. People think it's very simple to make this shoe, but it's probably one of the most complicated shoes to manufacture because it has no stitchings. The pattern making and the design has to be perfect for the shoe to fit in the last.
I've had that Abraham Cuero leather for a client of mine who travels to all the major markets. He's an absolute shoe hound and has a humongous collection, and that was the last shoe that we got for him. Do you mind, Pascual, before we go on, could you explain how you achieve that color variation where the brown gets darker as it heads towards the toe box? And that's something that all the time clients who I've put into Magnanis will say that is one of their favorite features of the Magnani shoe.
Yeah, again, the process is very, it's very complicated. People ask me when I go to events or trunk shows by myself, why don't you color the shoes? Like, no. This is something I let my brother Miguel do because it's really difficult. So you start antiquing the color of the leather with a base of aniline. Is a type of product. It's the same process of a tannery, but it's done by hand. So you do an aniline color, and then on top of that, you start putting shades of creams, and the result, it can be lighter, it can be darker, you can do more shading. As you can see in this shoe, there's more shading in the sides, there's a darker shade in the toe. This is just a matter of taste, and people like it, some people don't like it. For us, it's kind of our signature finish. We like to antique a little bit the toes, we like to give them a little bit of shine, which is all done by hand. And it just takes around 3 to 4 hours to finish each shoe. So if my brother if you have the opportunity to go to an event where you can request one of these shoes, it will take 3 to 4 hours to just color the shoe.
3 to 4 hours, and approximately how many different applications of dye to achieve that like distinguishing look from light to dark?
Many. Again, I could say 6, 7, 8, but it's just shade after shade. And again, if you're trying to make it darker, you'll see my brother there with their bare hands. Again, he wears gloves because of the ink.
Everybody wears gloves these days.
Yeah, well, now it's. But you will see him how he works on the shoe, and there's some videos that we could provide, and you can share with your customers. But it is very artistic, let's say. I couldn't do it. I tried to do it, and I've been traveling with my brother for 20 years now, doing these events, and I don't even want to try it. It's complicated.
Yeah,
but I think it has to come from inside. It's like an artist, and it's like a white canvas, painting a white canvas, because it's the same thing. Honestly, I would recommend for anybody to see my brother Miguel do this process or work this process.
Yeah, I would say there's certain things you can't shortcut in life, right? So,
yep.
In the world of shoes, I've worn Magnanis and paid attention to them. You do see people that try to copy your design and your style. And what I notice is the telltale when it's not a genuine Magnani is that the color variation isn't as subtle.
Yes.
And I would think that you can only achieve that subtle variation if you take the 3 to 4 hours that it takes per shoe to apply layer after layer and get that just elegant shading that goes, from light to dark.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit of everything. It's the raw material, it's the quality of the product, number one. It is the process, it takes time. And a lot of people, or a lot of companies out there try to use the quick way, The best way to recognize it, and I'm going to give you an example. If a shoe or if a leather is a good quality and the finish is real, not to say real, but it is done properly, is when you flex the shoe, as you can see here, if the color doesn't come out.
Okay.
And there is absolutely no wrinkles on it.
Reach across the toe box isn't there.
Correct. When you flex it, and then you see creases here, and you see how the finishes start coming out, is when you start seeing that they just put a layer on top, and the finish will probably go away very soon. In this case, you see how the leather is natural. It absorbs the tanning process into it, and it's part of the shoe. This color will never go away, and the antiquing that you see will never go away. So, and people ask about, how do I care for these stripes, and how do I care for this? It's neutral cream. If you scuff it, yes, use the same color skin. You use the same color than the skin, or a little bit lighter, but just neutral cream. So that's how you tell.
So one of the things I learned when I invested in my first good pair of shoes is the importance of shoe trees. You carry shoe trees obviously as well, but I think a lot of people don't realize that if your feet aren't in your shoes, shoe trees should be in them, because they pull the moisture out of the leather. They prevent, it sounds like your shoes don't wrinkle very much to begin with, but they prevent further wrinkling. What other just basic shoe care tips can you think to share with those joining us, Pascual?
Well, the key, again, what you should try to do is make sure that the shoes rest. So try not to wear the same shoe every day. I'm a bad example because, I have a lot of, again, I can have any shoe I want in a way, and people think like, oh, your closet is so big, and it is not. I only have like 6 or 7 shoes, and but try not to wear your shoe every day. Make sure the shoe rests with a shoe tree, and once in a while, you don't have to do it every time, but once in a while, make sure you clean it with a nice brush. Make sure you take all the dust off, put some cream on it. If it rained or if it has a damage, make sure you spend a little more time on it. There's a video that my brother made, which we also can share with you, about our product care, how to care for a shoe. And it's just, a few minutes long, and I would recommend for everybody to watch it and to understand that it's a very easy process. Don't be scared. People feel like, oh, with these patinas, these hand patinas, I'm not going to be able to care for them. No, it's really simple. Just make sure you have to get the dirt off the shoe with a little bit of cotton cloth and a little bit of water on the cloth, just that, and then just add some cream on the shoe, and they will last for a long time. But shoe trees are really important.
Shoe trees, a brush to get the dust and the dirt off, and then a neutral cream that would work with any of the various patinas and dyes that you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. One of the things that I appreciate about Magnani is you're very innovative in your style, right? Very distinctive stuff that many other shoe manufacturers don't have. Can you talk a little bit about who comes up with those ideas and how you have the different models and styles that you offer?
Yeah, again, it's all my brother Luis. He's our youngest. He's the youngest of all of us. He's very creative, and he listens, meaning he travels around the world. He meets with me and my brother Sebastian and our sales team here, our sales team in Europe, and he tries to gather ideas every season. He looks out there for trends as well, and he shops the competition. He understands where the trends are going, and he tries always to bring a contemporary look, a contemporary designs that fit our customers. We are not a very aggressive, fashion-forward company, so you're not going to be seeing from us, very aggressive shoes, or also very classical conservative shoes. I think that our shoes are always going to have a little bit of that contemporary trends. You're going to see trends, very shoes that you can wear with, dress up or dress down kind of, styles. And we have a huge collection, meaning my brother comes up with 600 to 700 styles every season. Is amazing.
600 every year?
Every season, so twice a year.
Wow.
Yes, is madness. And one of the things that we always have a problem with is when we are doing a presentation for our customers, is like, okay, how do we trim it down? Because we cannot show these products. This is very confusing. But again, you have to understand that we have a lot of markets, that have different needs. Our Japanese customers have different needs that the U.S. consumer, Europe, even China, So we have to make sure that we bring product that fits all of our markets.
Gotcha. So let's talk to the businessman who is here in the U.S. Balani currently represents 14 markets in the continental U.S. And I was previewing the list of shoes that we're going to make available after our call here today. And there is a ton of options, both in color, models, and styles. So if you were speaking to a gentleman who wanted to invest in his first quality shoe, Is there one particular style that you would say this would be my go-to that would more or less meet every occasion and every need?
Yeah. Again, as I showed you before, my favorite shoe, dress shoe, is a whole piece. Is that shoe that I showed you before here, which is all no cuts, is one piece. We have one in the collection. Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, it's called the Lagos. It's the same idea without without the opanca construction. So this is a shoe that I think is beautiful. Is one piece. It has a little bit of detail here, which my brother likes to do, these small details. People tend to go with black shoes most of the time, cap toe, basic. I feel that browns will show better, so if you're gonna buy out there a shoe and you have blue suits and gray suits or brown suits, I think that color will be a great option instead of black. Again, black is also always great, it's very safe, but try to go with a brown shoe. I think the Lagos is a great shoe that you can wear with almost any suits, and it's one piece, which is my favorite style.
Yeah, the craftsmanship that goes into making a shoe out of one piece of leather, it's almost the absence of fancy detail, if you will, that is the indicator of a quality bespoke shoe. And brown, there was a time in men's fashion many years ago when black was the appropriate shoe. And it seems like that's made a curve for quite some time now. And brown works both with your navy suits, your gray suits, and is a great first shoe to have if a guy wants to invest in one shoe that would work in different occasions. Let's change gears here for a second. A lot of our clients are obviously working from home or doing a hybrid model, home and office, and wanting something that's ultra comfortable, maybe a little bit more casual, but still has a dressier look to it. Is there a shoe that you're fond of that is not a sneaker per se, but is kind of in between the lace-up that you just showed us and a pure sneaker?
Yeah, this is something, again, it's very funny that you asked me this question, because I think we have the shoe here. Yes, the reed. Now, this shoe, it's something that my brothers and I, we've always talked about, listen, you are traveling, you're going for a 2-day trip, and you need something that you're going to be able to wear with your jeans, with your khakis, shorts, and with a suit, So the Reeds is one of the shoes that we developed a few years ago. It is, again, when you look at it, it's a very classic penny loafer. And again, some of my good friends, when they ask me about, I recommend this shoe because not only about, of how many options you have of how to wear it, but the flexibility of it. Meaning this is just a glove. It's a glove for your foot. So this is the Reeds is, in my opinion, one of those shoes that not only every gentleman should have, but is that traveling shoe that is dress, but you can also wear it as casual. So yeah, this is.
Is that a rubber or a leather sole on that one?
Or leather sole.
Okay.
Leather sole. And we created this in a unique construction. Most of our shoes are manufactured with Bologna construction, which people are not aware. It's kind of wearing a glove in your foot. So when you picture yourself wearing a glove in your hand and flexing it, it's the same idea. The leather and the lining wraps around 360 degrees. So what you are doing is you're creating a glove for your foot. So that's why the shoes are so flexible. And that's what we focus on. One of the things that we learned when coming to the US market 30 years ago was how important it was for American consumers to wear a comfortable shoe. And that's why we started to manufacture absolutely everything that we make in Bologna construction, or what we call glove construction.
I think most people, when they think penny loafer, think of that uncomfortable, very stiff shoe that they were forced to wear in prep school or whenever they got their first pair of shoes. Yes. And so that's totally different. And that's the Bologna construction, where the leather wraps around 306 degrees, the first third of the shoe.
Correct. And again, that's what, if somebody wants to buy a Magnani shoe, or if somebody asks me, what are you known for? Is, as you mentioned before, David, the coloration and the antiquing is unique. The design is very contemporary and as well as, you know, unique in the styling but one of the most important keys which people don't see is the comfort of our shoes. That's why the glove construction is something that when we go and do events or when we spend time in the stores, we tell the associates, you know, make sure you do this so people understand and have a visual element. Sometimes when you see a shoe in the shelf, you're not able to you know, to understand how comfortable these shoes are.
Sure, sure. So let's continue going down the scale. Again, just to clarify, that last shoe was the Reed, R-E-D in mid brown.
Yep.
The first shoe is your lace up. And then if we're getting more casual as we go, what's a style that you would recommend to somebody who wants just a really great looking sneaker, but better than what you see in most traditional stores?
Well, my sneaker, again, and this is what I'm wearing today in blue. This is the type of sneaker that we are known for, Magnani is known for. Again, you saw on this, on the Opanka style here, you saw how this construction, which I didn't talk too much about, but all this hand stitch on the dress shoe in the Abraham, but we do the same thing in sneakers. So we always try to bring a Magnani flavor into our sneakers. So we did the same thing on the toe. I don't know if you can see it there, where all this is hand stitch and this leather. So we mix rubber with leather, and we create a sneaker that can be dressed up or dressed down. You know, we do perforations, and again, very, very comfortable. And you can also, the same sneaker, you can also dress it down a little bit by applying different shades and different coloration. This is the gray version. And right now, today I'm wearing the blue version. You cannot see it, but it is exactly the same shoe. But I like this Opanka toe construction because I think it makes us unique. And it gives you, it shows that this is not just a regular sneaker. This is a handmade quality sneaker, you know, that you can, like I mentioned before, dressed up or dressed up.
What are some trends that you see happening in men's footwear moving forward? Are there any particular colors, styles, designs? What do you see moving to the end of 2020 going into 2021?
Well, again, COVID changed everything for everybody. So casualization is going to be very important. So I think people are going to continue to dress. You know, I think that it is important to dress up. It's important to feel good. It's important to you know, visit a customer and wear a tie and a jacket. And it's important to sell dress shoes, to wear dress shoes. But I think that people are going to tend to also use that shoe that you can dress up and dress down. There is some elements and some shoes that we are doing for fall. This is not available. I'm going to show you a shoe that is not available. So, but this is something that is coming for fall. Is that sneaker dress a concept that you know, of a product that is a shoe that you can put it with a suit and you will look fine, but you can also put it with some jeans as well. I think that these type of concepts are going to be important. I think that also for the gentleman that wants to be a little more dressy, this type of concept is also very good. Again, basic blue chair, lace up, plain toe, Rugo materials, which is very soft, very flexible. You know, casualization on the bottom instead of leather, maybe a rubber, something that you can wear with a suit. It's also something you can wear with khaki. So I think that the shoes that can be combined and they can be dressed up or dressed down, I think are going to be very important. Color-wise, as I mentioned, for us, I think browns are going to continue to be super important. And for fall, boots are going to continue to be important. And spring 2021, we're working right now on spring. So white colors continue to be again, we had this spring, even though it was a very short spring, white was super important for us. It was our bestseller in sneakers. And I also feel that for spring, like I said, comfortable shoes, casualizations, read this type of program. in suede. We're going to bring a lot of it for next spring. So things that you can dress up and dress down, I would imagine.
I've noticed that the thickness of the sole, like that first shoe you showed us, was a dress on top and more of a sneaker bottom.
Yes.
I've noticed a lot of top designers using a thicker sole that gives elements of both business and casual.
Yeah.
Is something you see just getting more and more prevalent in men's footwear?
Yeah. Again, it depends. Like fashion-wise, a few years ago, the sneakers, they had these big, chunky soles. Now it's trending down to a little more normal sizes.
Okay.
But yes, it is something that you see. For example, in our boots, something that we saw for fall. This is our boot for fall, one of the most important boots that I think we're gonna be selling for fall. Where you have the gray antiquing with the rugo heel tab, but you can see the thickness, and they tend to be a little more military style and a little bit thicker soles. But I think for summer, it will continue to be there, but not so much. I think things are going to be trending down a little bit.
Gotcha. My favorite style, Pascual, is the monk strap. I have lots in both single and double buckles, yes. And the monk strap's been in for a few years now. Do you see that staying for a while, or has it more or less run its course?
I'm a monk strap guy. I'm a double monk.
Okay.
So,
what I'm wearing today.
Yeah, really. When I wear a suit, this is what I wear. Okay. So, yes, I think there is trends, and I think that single buckles and double buckles were very trendy years ago. I think that is still very relevant, and I think that is still very important. I think that for that guy that likes to wear a double monk strap, I think we have to continue to offer that product. Do you see less out there? Maybe, but like I said, I'm a double monk, and I feel that this is a lot more sexy style, for example, than a classic lace-up. I like the way the shoe fits, and I like the details of the double buckle showing on the cuffs of my pants. So I feel more comfortable wearing a double buckle than a lace-up. But again, if you want to be more traditional, a lace-up is also fine.
Yeah, I consult with my clients about the versatility of the monk strap. You can wear it with a suit, with a sport coat, or even just with a dressy pair of jeans. That it's my favorite style of shoe, so I'm glad to hear that it's not going away anytime soon. We have a ton of questions, Pascual. Is there anything you wanted to just cover or share with us before we jump into the Q&A box here and start questions in real time?
Let's get the questions.
All right. So the first one's coming from Nathan W. And interesting question. He's asking if Magnani will be offering a made-to-order interface anytime soon.
So we do offer made-to-order, very limited. We offer it in some stores in Japan. We have done it here in the US in limited stores. It's something that we want to do. Our factory is not set up to manufacture a lot of pairs, so we are a little bit concerned about if we put it online, how will that affect our production, our productivity. But it is something that we need to do because business is changing. I think customers are asking for that, for a little more customization. I don't know how soon we'll be able to offer it, but it is something that we're very limited. One of the shoes that I don't know if you can see, but this is one of the shoes that I showed you before that we offer for customization. And then you can see here, I don't know if you can see the initials.
Yes,
you can see them right there. So we also customize the shoes with their initials of the customers. So it's something that we're planning to do. It's something that we offer, but very limited. So it's a great question. I'm glad he asked because it's something that we have in the process of we're thinking about how to implement it on our web or even with customers like Balani. It's something really important.
Awesome. Next question comes from Kojo. And actually, it's a great question. We probably should have talked about this earlier. How would you compare Magnani to some of the high-end Italian footwear brands out there. I guess maybe a follow-up would be, where do you actually produce the Magnani shoes?
Okay, so we have two factories. They are, like I said, these are our own factories. So a lot of manufacturers out there, they use other factories, so they don't use their own factories. We're very proud to say that everything that we manufacture is manufactured in our own facility. So we have two facilities, one in Spain and one in Portugal. How do I differentiate Italians or Spanish shoes or even English shoes? Listen, it's a very difficult question because I'm fan of a lot of English shoes and I'm fan of a lot of Italian shoes, and we're Spanish. I think that Italians are very focused on design and aggressive designs and trying to always move forward, which I think they do a great job. I think English styling and manufacturing is a little more conservative, more Goodyear weld, a little more traditional. The Spanish are very well known for their craftsmanship, the leathers, and Magnani is trying to use that heritage that we have with our leathers, but with a little more contemporary style. So I think it just depends on the customer. Like I said, I think there is big brands out there that manufacture an excellent product. I think there is brands out there that for the price that they charge, maybe they overcharge, they just focus on the brand. But I don't want to focus on any single brands or any. I think that is a matter of the customer choice. If you are happy with a brand, versus if it's Italian or English or Spanish, I think is great. I do not think that Italians or English or Spanish make better shoes or worse shoes. I'm a fan. Like I said, I enjoy seeing products from other brands and learning, understanding, and understanding how they make them and the process, and they make beautiful shoes. But again, as a consumer, I would recommend for you to learn. Try to go to some blogs that really talk about shoe manufacturing. And if anybody has any questions or specific questions about our product, email us. We'll let you know how the shoes are constructed, what kind of materials we use, etc.
Sure. Sure. I would say the feedback that I have received from the bulk of my clients, it's not even necessarily direct feedback. It's they're coming back and getting more Magnani shoes. I don't know that I have any Balani client who has one pair of Magnani shoes. And I think that's a testament to the cost to value ratio. And so, go ahead.
Yeah, David, again, we're not perfect. We made mistakes. So not every shoe is going to come out perfect. There's going to be, we made a lot of shoes. We manufacture a lot of shoes, all handmade, and we make them with love and with family, and we're proud of what we're doing. But we stand behind our brand, and if anybody has an issue, please let us know. I'm glad to know that your customers are happy, and something that you mentioned is super important, which is value. We try to bring to consumers the best possible value. That's why we have a company and a distribution company here in the US, because we believe that bringing shoes directly from Spain to our own distribution center and distributing it directly to consumers is how we can offer that excellent value, excellent style, excellent product to consumers. So you will see how our shoes prices do not differ that much from year after year. We don't try to play that game. So we try to be very honest. And again, it's what we do. It's what we've been doing for 3 generations. So we're here to stay. So we want to make sure that customers are happy.
Sure. So you mentioned the craftsmanship that you feel is the hallmark of a Spanish-made shoe. Court, who is a colleague of mine in our Chicago market, had a great question. Can you just talk about how difficult it is to make a shoe from a single piece of leather? I don't think most people appreciate what goes into crafting a shoe out of one single piece of leather.
No, it is very difficult because the most important thing of a shoe is the last, so the mold that the shoe is made of, and the design. The design has to be perfect. And when you make a Bologna style, which is, as I mentioned before, the glove construction, which is very flexible, it requires a unique pattern, a unique design. It has to be perfect. It's a shoe that has to be done perfectly. If not, it will bubble. It will the laces will move to the right or to the left. I don't have any words to explain how complicated it is. It's a process that my brother Luis learned from my dad. And again, my dad is still alive, and he continues to, Luis continues to learn from him. And he goes to the factory every day and, goes around and tries to, check to make sure that we're doing the right thing there. But it is complicated because you cannot make a single mistake. When you stitch shoes, and when you do different parts and you stitch them, your patterns, can deviate a little bit. When you have a whole piece, it has to fit perfect on the last. So it's more about lasting and pattern making.
Gotcha. We have a question from an anonymous attendee who asked if you could elaborate a little bit on your construction, the Balani construction, compared to Blake or Goodyear. What would be some differentiators that you would highlight?
Okay, so again, all the constructions are great. Meaning, people, again, I always say that we prefer Bologna because I think we give a comfort to the consumer. We give, a glove, so the foot is wrapped around leather. So we feel is an appropriate construction for what we Magnani believes. Goodyear Weld, it is a construction that is a little more traditional. I think that it is a fantastic construction. It is a little bit harder, but people feel that is more durable because you can resole the shoes. In Bologna construction, you can also resole the shoes. And Blake construction is the more simple construction where you stitch the upper to the leather, and pretty much that's it. It's a more simple process. I think all of them are okay. It depends on the shoe that you want to bring to the consumer. If you want to bring a traditional Goodyear Weld, English look or feel style, or even a contemporary style like this, you can also manufacture in Goodyear, but it's going to be a little more harder, a little more tougher shoe. It's going to take a little more time to break it in. That's a great construction, and it will last. Where some of the shoes will last you a very long time. For us, we're looking for the extremely comfort, flexibility, contemporary shoes that are going to give you the styling that the customer needs today, in our opinion. Like you mentioned before, what is your favorite shoe? Well, yeah, people feel that classic wingtip or classic capto is the first shoe that they should buy. I disagree. Maybe a double buckle is like you, David, like you wear. Maybe this is the first shoe that they should buy. Be in today's world, I think the man has to be, has to be aggressive there in the design. Don't be conservative. Try to explore, venture. Look for new ways to express yourself, and don't be traditional. So, but all the three constructions are great. I couldn't say anything bad or wrong or better about any other.
Pascual, you mentioned that the Bologna construction is able to be resold. My colleague, Gabriel, who's in the Atlanta market for Balani, was curious if you currently offer any kind of a refurbishing option for shoes that start to show a little wear and tear, or if not, if that's something that might be in the works down the road.
We don't, because we don't have a manufacturing process here. We looked into sending shoes back to Spain and being resold, but it's just too expensive. We have some names of people that do a great job reselling the shoes. So if we'll be happy to, if they can connect with our customer service, we'll be glad to send them to them. Give them some good shoe cobblers here in the US that work with us.
Okay, gotcha. We have another question from an anonymous attendee who is curious if Magnani has any plans to offer a line of shoes made from genuine shell cordovan. So maybe you could start by explaining what that is to our viewers who don't know what that is, and then the answer to whether or not you currently offer or you'll offer.
So we make shoes of shell cordovan, and we had a line of shell cordovan. Shell cordovan is part of it's horse leather, and is I don't know how to say it, but it's the back of the horse, you know, and they tend to be not that big leathers, so it's very complicated to manufacture belts, like whole piece belts of it, because it's not that it's a leather that is not that big. But we made them. We used to get the leathers from Japan. Very, very good tannery. I don't know if you guys know, but in Japan, traditionally, people use the leather of shell cordovan to make or to give to kids the first time that they go into school a backpack. So when the kids go into school, their grandparents or their fathers, they will give them a backpack made of shell cordovan, and it will last them for a long time because shell cordovan is a leather that, you know, is very durable. We make them, but again, shell cordovan tends to be used for a little more traditional types of styles. Not that we were not successful. I think that our customers enjoy very much the shell cordovan, but and we hand antiqued it too, so we were able to create unique colors. But it's a leather that, you know, for us it wasn't one of our best sellers. But we even have, we probably have still leathers in the factory. It's just a matter of picking, you know, where you want to be. But we made them before.
Okay. Question from Christopher G wants to know, looks like he's checking out the link to the sizes that are online right now. What would you say is the best way to figure out your size if you aren't able to visit a location where they have actual samples to try on?
Well, all of our shoes are manufactured in a European last. Tends to fit a little bit longer and larger. So if you are a true American, let's say size 8, you know, US size 8, I would recommend for you to move to a 7.5. If you are a size 9, order an 8.5. Now, the higher you get, the closer the gap it gets. So at 12, you should get a 12. At 13, you should get a 13. Okay. And when you start until 11, until size 11, you should probably half size down your pick or your order. So if you are size 11, order an 11.5. Sorry, 10.5. If you are an 11.5, that's where it gets a little complicated, you know, because you could be an 11, you could be an 11.5. But I would recommend to always fit half a size lower. That's my recommendation.
Okay, I've had really good success essentially sizing down a half size for my clients who, you know, if they wear a 10, normally in a traditional American shoe, they would order a 9.5 in Magnani. I did not know about the 12 being pretty much an equalizer. And if I remember correctly, you start to not offer half sizes when you get to 12 and above. Is that correct?
Correct. Again, there's always a shift. Again, our shoes tend to fit in a larger size, but when you start shifting from European sizing, 41s, 40 halves, 42s, 42.5, 43s, to US sizes, the equivalence, there's a time where it breaks, you know? So the 12s, the bigger sizes tend to fit true to size. The middle sizes half size down.
And currently, Pascual, what is the largest size that you offer in your line?
15.
Okay. I work with a handful of professional athletes, and it's difficult to find stylish shoes in the larger sizes.
Yeah.
So, you know, as long as somebody's 15 or below, it's been a great shoe to recommend, and it does fit pretty true. I will say, I've got a client that I can think of who ordered a 15, and it fit spot on. So
we're able to also manufacture sizes 16 and 17s. So we made to order. We have to be, you know, we usually do a made to order on those. So if any of your customers is 16 or 17, let us know.
Okay. Pascual, I really appreciate your time. It's great to meet you virtually. You're not that far away. I'm in Cleveland. You're in Columbus. So,
So we should meet and get some red wine or white wine from Spain. I didn't know you would like Spanish wine.
When it's a little bit cooler, I like the wines from the Navarre region, but summertime, I'm more of a white guy. So Verdeo might go to, but I really appreciate your time, and anything you'd like to add for just kind of last farewell thoughts as we wrap up here?
No, I think that I would like to thank Mr. Balani for the opportunity to be part of his stores and program. So nothing, I'm very excited, and any questions that anybody may have, let us know. Like I said, we want to make sure that everybody had a good time, learn a little bit more, and like I said, if there's any questions, please feel free to contact us. And cheers, yeah.
Thank you. Salud. Cheers.
Salud. Salud.